Hi, I'm Jerry Black, and welcome to Make More Money Now. And I'm here with my co-host, Patti Pokorchak. Patti?
The small business sales coach. But today's topic is more about marketing. So Jerry's in charge of the recording button too, which is and the share screen is going to do some scary technical stuff here. But you'll hear from me too. I have a few couple cents worth of input probably.
So Patty has given me control of the ship today, and that could be the biggest mistake she's ever made. So in the spirit of Make More Money Now, what we want to do is, if you're an entrepreneur and or a small business owner, you want stuff that's going to work and stuff that you can use now to make more money. So that's what today's show is all about. So one of the biggest battles today is you might think like you're in a real dogfight with your competitors and all of that. The fact of the matter is the biggest battle we all have today as marketers and salespeople is trying to get our prospects to actually pay attention to what we want to talk with them about. And that's a real problem. There's lots of distractions. There's so many things that can pull them away and keep them distracted that we have to work really hard and understand that's the main mission, is to get their attention and keep it by being interesting and offering them value. Patti?
One thing I would add is in this, because people's time is so limited, less is more. Okay, when it comes to
Great point.
copy or sales copy, less is more. Don't try to sell them the whole ship in your first outreach. You sell them one little baby step at a time.
Very good point.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, delete half of your email.
So I'd like to just revisit, a couple of weeks ago, we talked about the number one question we want to answer for today's prospect. Who is impatient, distracted? We have to get right to the point. And that number one question, as a reminder, was why, of all of the choices that are available to me, including doing absolutely nothing, why should I pick you? And that's a really, really important thing that we need to lead with. So today's topic is aimed at making sure you answer that in a compelling way. Today, we're going to talk about attention-getting headlines. And we'll be talking about subject lines for emails, in a future issue or future edition. But for today, we're going to be focused on headlines. So I'm going to go off screen. I'm going to share my screen now, and we're going to take a look at some headlines. You're going to see some good, some bad, and some ugly. And I just did a little exercise yesterday to see what I could find out there in internet land, and it's shocking what people think passes for a message that's going to be of interest to a reader. So Here we go.
And I was going to say, Jerry, that the number one, some things that haven't changed in the decades that we've been in sales and marketing, and it's the good old so what. If you got a headline and you can say so what to it, it's just like, say so what.
Yes.
I mean, that hasn't changed when I learned about 30 years ago, and that was after my MBA in marketing. I never learned that at my MBA. I mean, isn't that shocking? Yeah.
There you go. Okay, let's jump in here.
Okay.
So I'm going to share this with you, and I'm just going to open this up so everybody can see it. Okay. So yesterday I went on the internet and I just picked a bunch of random websites. I wasn't really looking for anything specific. I was just doing a headline search. These are messages that people see when they land on your website or when they land on your landing page. So it doesn't really matter. I've made a few changes. The first one you can see I changed it to the ABC company because I didn't want Patti and I to get sued. But there's some really weak leading headlines, if you will, and I wouldn't even say some of these classify as headlines. So the first one I saw was the ABC company advantage. Well, unless you're intimately aware of the company, you have no idea what that could mean. And you are going to do what 95% of the people will do when they see that. You're going to click away going, what's in it for me? I don't see anything. The second one was kind of like a 1-2 punch where they used a kind of a headline and a subhead. Professional Marketing Consultants,
Mm.
Canada's premier boutique marketing firm. Now, I don't know about you, Patty. Do you see anything there that would just make you pick up the phone and call them?
Oh,
Right?
excuse me. Excuse me.
I think that answers the
I'm
question.
exclusive. That means I'm expensive, probably. If you're a boutique,
Now,
Oh yes, excuse
here's
me. As
one, the
before.
management consulting. Here's one. Obviously, they must get charged by the letter that they put on their site
Yeah.
because they actually had management consulting as the thing leaping off their homepage.
Oh, I mean,
It,
that is so 70s or 80s.
it's
Like, I
like
mean, that is
shocking.
so, nobody says that anymore. It's business consulting, if anything, I
And
mean,
these are
uh,
actual, this is fresh stuff. This is something I dug out of a 70 or 80s marketing book. This is out there today, and all anybody has to do is you just check it out and you'll see that. So basically that's what we've got here is we've got a bunch of kind of ho-hum headlines. So the last one that I found, the sales training and sales coaching provide leaders with the skills to develop high performing sales teams. Now, the last time I checked, Patty, that's the price of getting into the dance.
oh
That's like
gosh,
your prospect assumes that you can do what you say you're going to do, but you have to put it to them in a way that's actually going to engage them and make them want to know more. Nobody needs another sales trainer or sales coaching. And Patty will speak to this in a few seconds because that's not what they're looking for. They're looking for an outcome that you can deliver. Right, Patty?
Oh, exactly. It's like if you don't get your benefit statement across in like 3 seconds or less, then you're lost. And it's just like, ugh, boring, boring, same old, same old. That's why less is more. But you really got to know what your value is and who you're targeting. And this is really quite clear. It's leaders, sales leaders, skills to develop high performance sales teams. It says this is the outcome that I provide. Um, Great.
So
Yeah.
we're gonna move on here. Okay.
Okay.
So effective headlines for landing pages or for your website, your homepage, they combine what we call the 4 U's. And I learned this back when I took a copywriting course, and this was developed by a fellow named Bill Bonner, very successful direct marketer, and Michael Masterson, very, very, very efficient direct response copywriters. So one of the things we forget is that when we put our headlines together, it's people buy using emotion first, and then they look for logic to support that emotional decision. And that's the right combination of emotion and logic is where you're going to have success developing new leads. So any headline you write, you want to measure it against these 4 components. One, it should be urgent. And we're going to look at a few of these in a minute. It should be urgent. It should have a compelling reason for someone to say, hey, I should look further into this. And that's where you start to pull them into your document, whether it's a website or a sales page. So it should be urgent. It should be unique. Now, if we take a look at most of the, and I can say this having looked at it for years and years, take a look at most of the messaging on the internet today. It is not unique. It is me too, and there's nothing about it that is really going to spark someone to take the next step, which is to come further into your website or read further into your sales letter. It should be ultra specific. A lot of times marketers, entrepreneurs, small business people, they get caught up in jargon and they get caught up at a high level. So instead of explaining to the reader what they specifically get as an outcome, they're kind of high level, so that the person reading it comes away with no real sense of how their life would be different. Go ahead, Patty.
I was gonna say it's the old. It's gonna save you time and money. It's like who doesn't save you time and money for God's
Great
sake?
point.
I mean, it's totally trite and banal, right? It's just like no, this is the point where you have to be specific. It's just like that's in my thing, it's like my brag sheet says somebody made 20 grand more in one contract. Do you want some of that?
Yeah.
That's it's specifically what kind of outcomes and results and everybody saves time and money. That is just, again, don't bore me, you know?
Yes, and you see it all the time in store windows. You see a
Oh,
huge sign that says save up to 70%. Well, it's bad enough that it's boring anyway, and everybody says it, but it's save up to 70%. So it really is meaningless, and that's the way really most prospects treat it. It's like water off a duck's back. They don't even pay attention. And so all the time, money, and effort you spent to get them to your sales message, whether it's your website or your sales letter or your email, is wasted because they just click away. And last but not least, the fourth U is your headline should promise something useful. I know that sounds funny when you say it like that, but you'd be amazed. And if you just think back to those examples that I showed in the beginning, there's not a lot of usefulness offered in telling somebody you're a marketing consultant. It's just, it doesn't do anything. So those are the 4 U's. So I'm going to move along here to couple of examples here. Now we see this all the time on websites. And it's usually buried down somewhere near the bottom. You'll see a little box and it'll have an place for you to put your email address, and it'll say free e-newsletter subscription or free e-zine. Now, I don't know about you, Patti, but the last thing I need is something else to read, right? I don't need another subscription, right? So usually in that it's that free newsletter or report is offering something. And the second part of this is the marketer who puts, instead of free e-newsletter subscription, gives it the title of what the content is that you're going to be getting, how to get targeted traffic and higher sales in less than 27 days. That, I think that has at least 3 of the 4 U's baked into it.
right. Yeah. I once, I'm a readaholic, okay? I once actually realized I got 10 newsletters a day, 300 a month.
Wow.
I know. And that's when I realized I was just a news junkie, obviously. But yeah, I mean, it was, you know, I think 15 years ago in the early days of e-zines. I mean, we're going to talk a lot about email marketing, but yeah, I mean, I'm not going to click on the first one. It's like, oh God, don't bore me with another, but it's like, oh, I want to get targeted traffic in 27 days or less. Yeah, let's do that.
It's a very ultra specific message. And of course, putting in less than 27 days, that adds in the timeliness, the urgency of it. It tells you that, hey, you could be only 27 days away.
I know you're the word nerd. I'm more the numbers nerd, but I'm a huge believer in the word you. It's like how you can get targeted traffic.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm just marking my students' exams, and I keep saying more you and less I. You know, it's like it's how talk you. Use the most you and free, right, is the most powerful word, except when it's a free easy, because who pays for them anyway?
Yeah.
You know.
No, that's true. And, to that point, a nice little exercise to do is go on your own website or go into your emails or your sales letters, landing pages, check how many times you use the word you and your versus how many times you're talking about yourself. I, we, our. It's stunning when you start to realize that, your prospect couldn't care less about you until, as Patti mentioned a couple of weeks ago, until you show you care about them. Your prospect doesn't care about you. So you turn them off when you start talking about yourself and your own company. They don't care. So that's an important point. That you reminder, Patti, is a good one. Okay, so here is a landing page headline. I changed the doctor's name. Before this doctor, you got on a landing page. So just imagine you're landing on a landing page. The design of it was not bad. But when you looked at it, it had a picture of the doc. It had a list of services, like about, I'm going to say 12 anyway, all individual services. And it had an offer for a free guide. So the first point I would make about this is that on this landing page, you can't offer too many things or it's too overwhelming to your prospect. They just can't, focus on all of it. They can't drink it all in. So what they'll usually do is they'll leave. So what you want to do really is aim your message at solving a very specific problem. So this doctor probably was getting some sign-ups for his free report or his free guide, but look at the difference when you move down and start looking at what the reader is going to relate to. Now here's a rewrite. So after, are you sick and tired of the yelling, screaming, and belligerent attitude of your child? Now you can discover the secrets to controlling your child and instantly restore peace and quiet in your home. Now, getting back to the emotion and the logic, it's the same doctor, but now what he's doing is engaging the reader in a meaningful way. Everybody can relate to this. We've all, if you're a parent, you've been through this phase where your child's behavior is not where you want it to be. So if you were on this landing page, you're there because you're looking to solve a problem, and that's likely the problem that you're having. So going even further, what he's doing is he's now promising that you can figure out how to fix this issue and instantly restore peace and quiet in your home. So that has real value for a reader who's got that problem. Make sense?
Oh, totally. I mean, I was pointing at me because I used to like scream and hold my breath and pass out when I was a terrible three, I guess. But it's just like, again, it reiterates what you're saying about being very specific, being very focused. And even if, my kid only screams and is yelling, it's not belligerent, it's like, but still, I know you can help me with my kid too. So I'd be curious about reading more. So
yeah, so they're going to be engaged, and that's what we want. We want that emotional engagement. That's what they buy with. That's how they start. Now, Patti did not know I was going to do this, but I want to show you. I want to show you an example of different ways that you can get attention. Remember, it's not so much about an actual headline as much as it is about putting something in front of the reader that engages them. So you see, Patti, just take us through this. This is how you engage people, as opposed to just saying, hey, I'm a sales trainer and I'm a sales consultant. That's not going to get you anywhere. So tell us how this approach works.
Well, again, it's addressing the problem. Nobody cares about me because it's just like, I have a problem. I'm going to find the best person in my general geographical area or in the world to help my problem. And it's just like, you need to do these basic things, and it's addressing, because I've been a serial entrepreneur for a few decades, is in a marketing consultant, I've been all those business consulting, management consultants, is a lot of entrepreneurs and small businesses, they really don't know how to sell. It's sad. It really is sad. So it's addressing basic sales issues that entrepreneurs have, but in language that they understand, and it's just like, if you need this, I'm your person,
Perfect.
That's it.
Perfect. Because remember, people, the advantage of using an approach like this is you can name about 4 or 5 very specific things and catch people's attention. That instead of a vague kind of general message, asking people for, what you're worth, more effective marketing, improving your marketing efforts. Those are things that people can actually compartmentalize and understand in terms of problems they've got. And Patti is saying, hey, I can solve them for you. If you have these problems, I can fix them. So that's another approach that's very, very effective. And you'll notice it's focused on the reader and what the reader, there's that word you, and you see it all over the place in Patti's marketing, because she knows that's who they're interested in. She can talk about her and how she can help after they put up their hand and say, look, I'd like to know more.
Yeah.
So this is an example of, now this is my home page, but it's actually my U page. Um, Basically, in my business, I use words to sell and help marketers create more effective messaging. So the first thing they see when they come to my site is actually my blog, because that gives them free information. And you'll notice on Patty's, she had a free offer as well. That's what they want. They want free kind of answers. They want to get inside your thinking. So the first thing that you would see if you went to my site at marketingwriter.ca is you'd see my blog. But you'll notice at the top, I have a U button. And it's very hard for people to resist that. And when they click on it, this is what they see. Now, I can solve a lot of marketing copywriting problems. I can write emails, I can write web copy, I can write landing pages. But you'll see here, I'm very focused in on one specific issue. Frustrated that your marketing isn't converting qualified prospects into sales. A lot of people get traffic to their site, but because they have weak messaging, what happens is the traffic comes and the traffic goes. So what I'm saying is, let me identify your marketing leaks. So I put it in their mind that, hey, you're doing a lot of things right, but you may have some holes in your marketing system. So I'm saying, let me identify them and watch how quickly things turn around. So that's a very specific problem. Now, if somebody comes to my site and they need help with their email marketing, I'm figuring they're going to figure out by looking at my services that I can help with that too. So the main thing is with both Patti and I, we're saying, hey, we know sales, we know marketing. We can help you with a variety of issues, but really important to get them thinking about specific problems they have so that they can latch onto that and then take the next step in your selling process. And then I put this in, this, you can have some fun with this. This is from a site called CoSchedule. And, when you put your headline in here, this will analyze your headline for all kinds of different things, emotional content and effectiveness, benefits, and all of that. So you can actually go to this site, put a headline in there. Now, I will tell you, I have no relationship with this company whatsoever. They will ask for your email address. Why? Because they want to keep marketing to you as well. And eventually they want you to subscribe to the service. But it's worth putting it in because you can get some free access to this service to kind of test headlines out based on what you've learned here today. Patti, have you ever done anything like this? I remember I tried it once and it was just great.
Yeah, I actually use something called it's AMI. We'll put the links in the YouTube comments and stuff
Sure.
for both of these because I've used both, and it's interesting to get the feedback. But yeah, I use it religiously, and I don't always agree with them because sometimes I I override them, I guess. But it's nice to go like sometimes you get like I know AMI. It's when I use the because it's the faster one. It doesn't ask for your email. But it'll give you like 30% emotional, or top copywriters are looking for 50 to 60%. And if I get a 50% headline, it's like, whoa, this is golden. This is as good as it gets, basically.
Nice.
It's just sometimes you get it's like it's cold and impersonal, and you kind of go, okay, it needs a rewrite. So yeah, definitely worth using, especially if you're new to marketing copy, sales copy.
Yeah, and I think that's the point. I think you want to use these tools. Any of the information that we give you, take what you like, try it, and I think most of the time you're going to find that it's going to take you to the next level. And it's all about learning and testing and just seeing what works for you. Nothing is perfect, and as Patti will tell you, sales and marketing is a moving target.
I call it the inexact science, right? It's testable. You can, like in when you do like a email marketing, you can do an A/B test and test this subject line versus the other subject line, and you can test ad nauseum, like, but it's just are people opening up your emails? That's the key thing. Are they clicking on the right links? You just have to test it out and see what works. And it's not a one-shot wonder. Like, you just don't do once and done,
Yeah,
right? It's like you
good point.
repeat, repeat, repeat. That didn't work. Try something else. I mean, I've had, when I had my garden gossip newsletter for the garden thing, I used to get 50%, 60% openings, because I mean, it was very targeted. Now I'm lucky if I get 25 to 30%, just because it's, you know, more general and people are busier than they were.
I think that's a great point. People are busier, and there's far more choices out there, you know, and everybody is fighting for their attention, and that's something that you should always remember. You know, it's nice to sit and think like, boy, I have a great product or a great service. It's great that you think that, and that's very very important. But the trick is getting somebody else to notice, and you know, qualified prospects, and that's really what today's lesson was all about. So take the 4 U's, start applying them against some of the headlines. And if you don't have a headline on your website, start thinking about using one, because that little thing alone can be enough to get the attention, grab the attention of somebody coming to your site and make them read more. You've got to get them to stop and take notice.
Yeah.
Patti, that's it for this week. Did you have anything you wanted to add?
I was going to say, just make your copy scannable, because people, you know, I'm, you know, telling my students is, you know, get some spaces in those paragraphs, you know, just make them 1 or 2 sentences. They're really short, snappy. Don't try to sell the world. Don't try to sell everything, you know, especially if you're a complex B2B kind of environment. So just keep it short, keep it snappy, and just ask for a little hands up to say, hey, I might be interested in that. That's it, you know, to your free report or whatever, you know.
One of the great images that I had painted for me early on in my days as a copywriter was that when you write copy, particularly longer copy, think of it as a bucket brigade. And the way a bucket brigade works, you've got your top piece of copy, and its only purpose is to pull the reader into the next bit of copy and the next bit of copy. So it's kind of going dun, 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 from bucket to bucket to bucket, and before you know it, they're all the way through it. So that's really, whatever you write is really designed to get them to keep reading. That's
Yeah. And I guess, you know, you're talking about website copy, which now does seem to be, you know, one long page. What I'm more talking about is the email, the outreach
yeah.
emails, which are, you know, got to be short and snappy, because nobody reads, you know, if I see, and it's no attachments on your first email, no attachments until they say, okay, you can send me something. So there's, you know, there's a few black and white rules, I think, in sales and marketing. But as an example, you know, in the old days, you know, 30 years ago, it used to be 1 in 10 calls would actually call you back, 10%. Now it's like 5%.
Mm-hmm.
It's half as much. But that one person, worth a lot of money. They're putting their hand up going, I'm interested.
Yeah. So the key is attract their attention and put some time and effort into it. It'll be well worth the time and money you spend getting them there, to be able to convert them into profitable clients so you can make more money now.
That's what this whole show is all about, is to give you actionable tactics and just to help you save your readers from horrible, boring out headlines and subject lines, right? See, we're out here to save the world from boring. So yeah, till next week.
We'll look forward to seeing you next week.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
You surprised